coming to you live, well, I guess I'm not live, from my kitchen. I am based in sunny Southern California. I'm a Pilates instructor and I'm also a holistic health practitioner who is Nutritious Life certified, which is a lot of words to say that what I really am is someone who has been through their own journey to get healthy, and I want to help as many people as I can get on the same path to wellness that I have. So I'm the creator of the WOW Life Nutrition Program. WOW standing for the Wheel of Wellness, otherwise known as wow, I can't believe I feel this great every morning. So I wanted to take a few minutes today and back up and explain to you a little bit about how I came through this journey and this path, and how I use living on the Wheel of Wellness to enhance and just make myself feel really, really awesome. So I'm a Southern California born and raised girl, and growing up, I was pretty much fed the worst of the worst. I remember my mom coming home from a day at work, probably feeling a little guilty that she left my brother and I home all day while she had to work during the summer. And she would bring home a bag of Lay's potato chips with a carton of sour cream and onion dip for each of us. And I'm pretty sure there was like a 6-pack of Pepsi along with it. And so we would each have our own container of sour cream and onion dip, and the big bag of Lay's potato chips and a couple of Pepsis. And that's how we would start our dinner. And food around my house was usually fast food. It was unhealthy. It was cheap food because that was what my mother could afford at the time. And it really didn't do us any favors. And that's not to diss my mom. She was doing the best that she could. She just wasn't educated in nutrition the way that I am today. So again, nothing towards my mom, but that was just kind of how I was brought up. We would have a pizza. Could I just eat a whole pizza by myself? Yeah. Pizza, ice cream, just anything that you can imagine as being unhealthy was how I was brought up. So around my late teens, early 20s, I decided that I was going to go on my very first diet. And I was started on Weight Watchers. And this was, I'm going to date myself, but this was back in the day, in the early 80s. It was early 80s when Weight Watchers was a really fabulous program in that it taught you portion control. And it taught you to kind of eat everything in moderation and decent portions. And it was really an eye-opening experience to me to know that I couldn't just eat a whole pizza anymore or a whole container of sour cream and onion dip. But it really was like my first foray into understanding that portions do matter, whether it's a container of sour cream and onion dip or a whole bunch of mangoes. Portion size matters. And that was where I learned pretty much how to start understanding how food affected me. And I lost a lot of weight. I'm 5'5", and when I started Weight Watchers at the age of, I think it was 20, maybe I just turned 21, I was 168 pounds, and I lost a really good chunk of weight. I think in my first time doing Weight Watchers, I got down to 100, I want to say like 118, between 120 and 118 pounds. And I wish I could say that that's where my story ended and Weight Watchers was great and that was the end of it, but it wasn't. So again, here we are back in the early 80s, and this is when the whole fat-free craze began. And I mean, I ate fat-free Entenmann's, I ate Snackwells, I ate cotton candy. I mean, anything that didn't have fat on it was like fair game to me. And I mean, when I brought home that fat-free Entenmann's coffee cheesecake thing, and I was like, but it's fat-free, and I was just a little slice here. I was still doing the portion control thing, but I was eating all this fat-free food. And now that we know what is in that fat-free food, what was it? It was a chemical shitstorm, and it was tons and tons of sugar. and that's how I lived. And so I was still able to kind of maintain that initial weight loss that I had using Weight Watchers and portion control, but I was a mess. I was moody, I was cranky, my emotions were just like this roller coaster. My skin was horrible. I had breakouts, and even today, even though my skin has cleared up, I have scars from all of the acne that I had from eating all of that fat-free, sugar-filled, chemical crap for all those years. I was bloated, and I was just a mess. And it was all because of the sugar and what I was putting inside of my body. And while I was able to maintain the weight loss, it was like I describe it as I was like just clawing like holding on to this 120 pound on the scale and just barely just clawing onto it, doing whatever I could just to stay at that 120 pounds. And sometimes that meant over exercising, not eating, kind of going on, I started to get into this routine of going on these like crash diets, just, I'd go up a couple pounds, and instead of going back to like portion control, I was doing that, but because the food that I was eating was so bad, my weight would pop up, it would go down, pop up, it would go down, and it was not cool. And so I had gotten married and got pregnant with my daughter, my one and only child, and I really only gained about 21 pounds and actually lost it really quickly after I had her. But I kind of got back into that fat-free, low-fat, high sugar, high carbohydrate, lots of bread, just clawing, just trying to stay at this number and, trying little quick fixes. And I've kind of done it all. I've done the master cleanse. I've done the grapefruit diet. I've done, let's just eat vegetable soup diet. I've tried phentermine and fen-phen when that was out back in the early 90s. I've done, paleo, low carbohydrate. I'm vegetarian. I'm still vegetarian, but I've tried every single thing, and what it left me with was a scale that would go up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes it'd be down for a few years, and I would go up for a few years. And then my daughter was growing up, and I was eating bites of macaroni and cheese. I did this whole I call them BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes. So from the outside, you might think, oh, she eats really healthfully. But, really, during those 5 years of when my daughter was eating macaroni and cheese and grilled cheese sandwiches and get her ice cream or whatever, it was like a little bite here, a little lick there, a little taste there. And these bite, licks, and tastes were adding up over the course of my day. And I would gain weight, and I would think, but wait, I'm eating so healthfully. No, I was eating bites, licks, and tastes, my BLTs. And so, I spent like the better part of my 30s just clawing at this weight, just trying, over exercising, trying all those fad diets, and it wasn't. What did I end up with? I was tired, I was cranky, I was a bitch. I was still breaking out at, all through my 30s. Scars to prove it. I was bloated, my skin was dull and it was ruddy. My hair was just like not cool. I looked healthy, but if you looked up close, I didn't, and I didn't behave in a way that was healthy either. I was all of those things. Sometimes I call them the 7 dwarfs, cranky, angry, hungry, lonely, tired, bitchy, moaning, all of those things, sleepy. So anyways, so I spent the better part of my 30s doing that. And it was actually around my mid-20s that I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a thyroid disease that for me, I have very hypothyroid, which means my thyroid doesn't work really well, which means that I take Synthroid every single day of my life since my early 20s. And having hypothyroidism messes up with your metabolism. Just another fabulous little thing I have to deal with. And that also can make my weight fluctuate. And about every 5 to 6 years, I need to get my thyroid medication readjusted. And the first sign for me that my thyroid's going out of whack is my scale goes up. So around my late 30s, early 40s, I started to become a lot more educated in nutrition. And I really wanted, I can't really say that it was surrounding my thyroid, but I definitely knew that the way that I was eating, this fat-free, low-fat diet, a lot of sugar, a lot of bread, a lot of crackers, a lot of crap. Even though I was vegetarian, I'm in the health and fitness industry, I was still just eating crap. And I knew that I could do better. And so I started to educate myself in ways of eating that would support a healthier thyroid and hopefully start to clear up some of these problems that I was having. And on a whim, I decided, it wasn't on a whim, I had gone on a staycation or a little weekend getaway. And a lot of you, if you've been following me, you know the story. It was the catalyst for the change in my diet. I was candy whore because I was addicted to sugar. So, and the sugar in the forms of candy and bread and white food, I like to call it. And agave nectar. God, I think about all the things that we used to eat that we thought were so healthy. And I'm pouring agave nectar on my yogurt in the morning with a ton of fruit, and it's just a sugar nightmare. So I had gone on this staycation, and there was a candy store right across the street from the hotel, and it was one of those candy stores that had the wall of Jelly Bellies, so that you can choose all the different flavors, and you pour them into the bag, and you buy them by the pound. And I didn't know how many I was buying. I just went through and took all the flavors that I wanted along with some other candy. And this was on a Thursday night. We were there from Thursday to Sunday. And I brought my bag of Jelly Bellies with the other candy up to the cash register where they waited. And it was just over a pound of Jelly Bellies. And I've since calculated it was somewhere in the range of 1,000 Jelly Bellies. And all of my favorite flavors, which by the way were candy flavored, like cotton candy, caramel popcorn, salted caramel. It's just like sugar upon sugar and chemicals and whatever. And so I took all of that plus all the other candy that I bought, went back to the hotel, and I proceeded to eat all of the candy over the course of the weekend. Me, the picture of health and wellness, the leader in my fitness industry here in the community where I live in Newport Beach. And there I was in a hotel room. I looked down at the trash, and it was just filled with candy wrappers, and the bag of the pound of Jelly Bellies, I think I had like 8 left. And this was on Sunday morning. And I took the 8 Jelly Bellies, put them into my mouth, threw the bag away, and I said, okay, self, you are going to quit sugar for 2 weeks just to see what would happen. I just felt disgusting. I was bloated. I was anxious. It was just like, I just think back to that day, and I just felt just gross, just disgusted with myself. Mind you, that's just like what I did in the hotel room that weekend. I also had, I know we went out to an Italian restaurant, and I think I just ate bread because I didn't eat pasta anymore, but I would just eat a basket of bread, whatever. So I came home, and so I made the deal with myself. I was going to do it for 2 weeks because we were getting ready to go on another kind of week-long getaway where I was going to be wearing a bathing suit. And I thought, you can do anything for 2 weeks, just do it. So I quit sugar, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to do the sugar thing, I'm going to quit eating gluten as well, to see if it was going to start to help, kind of these things that I was feeling inside of me, that I thought maybe were surrounding my thyroid, and that I had heard that if you have any type of autoimmune disorder, I'd read that you should stay away from gluten. So I thought, okay, 2 weeks, you're just going to do it. No gluten, no sugar. And at the end of the 2 weeks, not only did I start to feel really good, things that I thought were due to stress or, mostly stress, all went away. And so I didn't know if it was the sugar or if it was the gluten, but whatever it was working. And like my skin immediately brightened up. I mean, I should have like I don't have any makeup on right now. So I don't know, maybe you're looking at this going, oh, she looks like crap. But I don't know, I think I look pretty good for not having any makeup. I have some mascara on from last night, but that's it. So after 2 weeks, I started to feel really, really great. And I thought, okay, well, let's see if you can do it for a month. And so long story short, since that day, I don't eat candy and I don't eat gluten. I will say I did go to Paris at the end of 2015 and I stayed there for a month, and I did eat gluten while I was there because it's Paris and their wheat is processed different than it is processed here. And so I ate bread and everything while I was there, and I'll tell you that I broke out immediately in huge cystic acne all along my neck, and the stomach aches that I had been feeling for 40 some odd years of my life all came back to me while I was in Europe. And so it was like a wake-up call, like you just can't eat gluten. If you want to feel amazing, you can't. And so, but other than that trip to Paris, I do not eat any gluten. I don't have a gluten allergy. I don't have celiac disease, but I do have the autoimmune disorders, the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and so much of what happens with the thyroid is affected by whether I eat this style or not. So no candy, no sugar, and I play with no dairy. I'm actually in a no dairy phase right now. And it's mostly because I want to look really amazing. For me, I'm not going to ever look like Giselle or Cindy Crawford, but I want to look in the mirror. And when I say look really amazing, I don't mean in a size 2 body. I mean, I want to look in the mirror and I want to see bright eyes and clear skin. And I want to see like tone in my body. I want to feel strong. I want to look strong. And that's what I talk about when I say I want to look in the mirror and look amazing. I want to look as amazing as I feel. And I think that comes through in our eyes, in our skin, in the way that we carry ourselves. And you're not going to carry yourself with confidence if you're bloated from too much sugar or wine or I should say I don't drink alcohol, so I didn't have to, like, that wasn't a struggle for me to give up alcohol. I've never had alcohol my whole entire life. I know everyone's like, oh, but I can help you with that. So actually that's what I'm getting to. After this whole long story, if you've listened, hopefully that story like kept you going. So what I've done is I've created a program called the Wow Life Nutrition Program, and actually worked with a large group of women for 9 months. We started in September of 2015, we ended in June of 2016. And I led this group of women on a journey, on a program to help them understand and learn the Wow Life Nutrition Program. And it was amazing, and we had fabulous results. And you're gonna start to see some of the videos and the testimonials coming through because it was so cool. And here's my philosophy on that. And I'm gonna put this in another video as well. But the Wow Life philosophy, the way that I help women in my, my peers. So, maybe this program isn't best for a 22-year-old new mom. I don't know, moms at 22 anymore. They all seem like they're 32. This is a program for women who are around the same age that I am, who are just, you guys have lived through this with me, right? You've all done that whole, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, fat-free, low-fat, let's not eat carbs. You guys, you've done that with me. You're my people. That's who I'm talking to. That's who I want to work with. And I've over the course of my life, I bought every diet book, pretty much every diet book that comes out, because I'm always looking for that quick fix or that new answer. And really, there is nothing in a diet book that someone can tell me that I don't already know. And when I get the diet book, what do? I open it up and I'm so excited because it's going to be the answer to everything. And I read through the whole entire thing and I look through all the recipes. And by the time I get to the recipes, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But whatever. I take the book and I go to the grocery store with like this list of foods. And I go through the grocery store. It takes me like an hour because I don't know where any of this food is. These are things that I've never purchased before. And I get it all home. I put it away, but I'm not really sure how to store some of the stuff because I've never purchased it before. And then I look at these recipes and I've got to make all this food and I don't even know how to make it. I don't know how to store it. I don't know how long it lasts. And by Thursday, I'm at Chipotle eating a burrito. I mean, that just is how it goes. We get all excited and then we just like flip out and we get frustrated and we give up. And I didn't want my program to be like that because I've done that program 1,000 times and it always led me back to Chipotle eating a burrito. No, I was gonna say not that Chipotle burritos are bad, but yeah, they are. they're bad. And so that's one thing. And the other thing is, if you're eating the way that I teach my clients to eat, you're not tracking yourself every day. I want this to be a lifestyle. I don't want this to be something that you think, well, I'm going to do this for 6 weeks until I lose the weight and then I'm just going to go back to whatever. No, this is like something, this is the way that you're going to eat for the rest of your life. And if you're listening to me, you're thinking, oh, that means I'm not going to eat sugar or bread forever. You might not want to if you feel how good you're going to feel after doing this program, or you're going to do it in a very conscious, indulging way. It's just not going to be, I'm at a restaurant and there's bread and it's not really that good, but I'm going to eat it anyways. It's not going to be like that anymore. So, but the way that I change this from the whole other diet book mentality or diet program mentality is that we go at a really slow and steady pace. I don't want anybody to be frustrated, and I don't want to tell you which foods you have to eat. If you don't like eating quinoa, I'm not going to make you eat quinoa, but I'm going to teach you other things that you can eat, and you're going to decide if, which one of those things that you're going to have to eat, as long as it falls within the parameters. And we go very slow because you need to master one thing before you can go on to the next one. So, for example, we master breakfast and we don't move on. I don't care what you eat after breakfast. I just want you to get like 3 or 4 really good solid breakfasts in your toolkit of your kitchen or wherever, that you know how to cook it, you know how to make it, you know where to buy it, you know where to go if you forgot it at home to get something else. I'm going to teach you all of those things and master them and feel comfortable with them so that they're second nature, so you don't even have to worry about it anymore before we move on to the next thing. Because you can't change everything all at once. It's going to be too far out of your comfort zone. I know there's a lot of nutrition experts out there that just want you to rip it off like a Band-Aid. I don't want to rip it off like a Band-Aid. We're women, and we just can't. It's too much. So I like to take it a step at a time. And if you take it a step at a time, I promise you, you make these habits and they become habits. They become your lifestyle, and you start to see the changes, and you start to lose some weight, and you start to glow a little bit more, and your eyes get a lot brighter, and you sleep a lot deeper. And guess what? You're happier. And people, your mate or your partner or your husband or your boyfriend or your lover or your girlfriend or whoever, or your kids or your employees or your employer or your coworkers, they start to see the change in you, and they soften up a little bit towards you, and just relationships are better. You feel better. I mean, I 99% of the time, I just had food poisoning a couple of days ago, so I didn't bounce out of bed that day, but 99% of the time, I bounce out of bed. I wake up before my alarm, and I bounce out of bed, and I'm excited to get up in the morning and go about my day. This isn't about over exercising. I know you think I'm the fitness girl and I'm going to make you over exercise. It's not about over exercising. This is about living a life that you're going to be able to live for the next 50, 60 years and feel good about it. And then when all of these things, when you work on this, then everything else gets better in your life. So I talked about the relationships that get better. But when you're so okay on the inside, then you start to make progress and you start to have momentum in other parts of your life, whether it's in your career or it's in your financial health. You know, when this is okay, like you want all that other stuff to be okay. And that takes you back to the wheel of wellness. And the wheel of wellness is this Ferris wheel, and it's this really cool analogy for living on this life that is pretty balanced. And it feels good, it works really good, there's pretty views, you get to do fun stuff, and I don't know. I mean, does it mean that I never have a bad day? Of course not. I'm a human being. Does it mean that I have to, like, I'm perfectly peppy, happy, healthy, fabulous 365 days a year? Of course not. But the days of feeling like shit and the days of being a cranky person and the days of just being miserable and not wanting to get out of bed in the morning and not finding anything that looks cute in my closet that I want to wear, I mean, that stuff's done. I mean, those days are like a few a year, not weeks at a time, not months at a time, not years at a time. And I don't know about you, but you probably spent like your mid-30s just like, ugh, drinking too much, not sleeping, over-caffeinated, over-sugared, depleted, not taking care of yourself, and now it's time to take care of yourself. So I could go on and on and on and on, but this is what's happening. So come September, I'm going to start the Wildlife Nutrition Program online. It's going to be about 5 weeks long. It's 4 weeks of pretty cool work and 1 week at the very beginning of just kind of taking stock of where you're at. We have a really cool Facebook group with a lot of the women that have gone through the program over the last 9 months, and so they're there for moral support. You're going to get a lot of info from me, and we're just going to take this one step at a time and help you master the program so that you can have continued success living on the wheel of wellness. Get off of the wheel of unwellness and get on my wheel of wellness. Pretty cool. Hey, thanks for listening this whole time. I'm going to put a link down below that is going to allow you to get on my mailing list so that you can find out more information. Just find out more information. In fact, you'll get on my mailing list and you will get my 3-day jumpstart. It'll kind of give you a little insight into how I eat. There's lots of choices so that you can choose what works for you. It's free. You'll get info about the Wildlife Nutrition Program coming up in the next couple weeks. And it's just info. There's no hang up or anything like that, or no commitment. Let's put it that way. Okay, if you have any questions, hit me up on any of my social media accounts at Smarty Cassie, or on Facebook, or send me an email. You'll find it all on my website. And whew, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I hope you have a great day. Bye.